I want to talk about how to maintain sanity, especially in this turbulent world. And I want to talk about what happened in the last day and a half and to make sense out of it. Also, the important point that I want to share and to convince or convey to my own is that if something is disturbing or important, disturbing, and want to clarify the issues, you stop everything and make certain so that it doesn't happen again. It's a quality control idea, solving the problem and not repeat it. So it sounds like a very serious, but actually the event itself is not that serious. But the combination of the event and how we respond can be affected by the environment, the setting, and certain coincidence. And I want to talk first about the AI. The term is hulsination. AI has been improving like kids to the high school and PhD level, getting better and better. But there's a term called the hulsination, which is that they often or still come up with some odd response, not getting the point. Why it happens. And the event that I'm going to talk about point out the same situation happen in us as much as in AI. And so let's go through this example. It's multiple cases that happen, and combining those created certain outcome that is what I call delusion in my case, or hallucination if I use the AI term. And if I understand that, we understand that it's knowing more about ourselves so that we can prepare to prevent the similar thing happen in the future. So let me have a list of items to cover which triggered that the combination of those events may have contributed to this hallucination or delusion. I go out spearfishing, so I aim at fish and trigger. And because of the waves and the condition and murkiness and possible danger of the shark around, I need to be very quiet and prepare and wait for fish to come. And it's not easy because of this is a new environment. In New Zealand, I'm more familiar, but here it's new, so I'm still figuring out. And the last day and a half ago, when I was doing it, it was not easy because fish is very spooky, and some movement they respond very quickly so that I cannot get it. So that's aiming and trying to get the fish. That's one event. I had a dream this morning that I was aiming as if I was on the pilot of a F-15 or 38, whatever the number of the aircraft the US has. And you see those pictures on the YouTube. I have seen those that fight between the US or Russia, whatever. And I found it interesting because of the technology they have. And I hear the case of the Russian airplane coming very close to the aircraft carrier or some such thing. So those are the events that can trigger mishaps as much as in my case shooting the fish. So those are two events kind of similar to each other. I was out with my cousin to do some shopping at Costco. But we went to the Oriental market first, and she mentioned maybe we don't go to Costco. But that was the whole idea that we decided to go. So when she said that, I was a bit disturbed, but accepted. Okay, if you like, we can go back. So that's the third event. Something unknown, unexpected happened. Another event that happened was meeting a new person in the area that we had to meet at 6 o'clock last night. and he was to give me the confirmation that we meet. I didn't get it at 5 o'clock in the evening, so I sent the email, but he didn't respond. What happened? So maybe there's one more event that happened that was related to, what's his name? Clooney. George Clooney? I don't know the actor's name so well, but he's a famous actor. Had some fundraising event with President Biden. And he sent the message in the news that Biden's cognitive ability is declining fast or some such thing. Why he said that, I don't know. But these days, people start to say whatever they want to say to make a point that their recognition of their names and the importance may be something is beneficial for that person. That's the idea of Trump, making fake news or something like that and behave in an odd manner. All right, so there are like 4 or 5 events I mentioned. So what happened, to get to the point, is that hallucination or delusion. So this morning, the dream I had was that I was like an airplane pilot and trying to shoot a plane, which is an unusual dream. But maybe the combination of those, my interest in spearfishing and other things, triggered that. The news about the Russian aircraft flying around, all the news that was on the internet. Those seem to have triggered in my brain this morning to connect to each other. So it's the case of causes are multiple, but at certain combination that may produce certain result. So my imagination is that when you have those events and not processed well, and at certain odd moment in the morning, you may have a dream. So in the dream, I felt this is funny. I tried to resolve it. And I stayed in the bed after I started to realize this was a dream. But it was such a funny dream, so I have to sit and think what happened. Because that's not the usual event, and I just don't want to live life just leaving the dream alone. So this is kind of like a Freud dream analysis, but I'm doing it on a basis to know myself, that in my brain there's certain event like that happen during the night time. I may have mentioned this in other videos. The dream is an indication of some unprocessed issues to come out by brain's self-organizing mechanism, that they connect and pop up as a dream, because there's something unresolved in the brain, and it's like in Samadhi, being quiet will help those to settle. But if it's not settled, it may come up with a dream. So that's what I see. So it's a long story, 5 events, and the dream, AI, human, unresolved issue coming up. One more key issue that I can tell, and then you get the whole picture. Alice, in this talk I mentioned, if it's important, I spend time. That's what I call in my first book, life stop concept. If the company is functioning, connecting all the pieces together to produce something, everything has to fit together. So like assembly line, all the parts to be there and people do in certain sequence, certain activity, and if it doesn't happen, it may create the bad quality product. So the concept of the line stop is when you have assembly line, something happens at operator 16 of 12 and cannot do the job because of the quality of the product or the time he was allocated to the job. If he couldn't do it, he can stop the line. That's very important, rather than letting things to happen and not stop the line. Because if you stop the line, the importance is realized with this, say, 50 people working together. So there's a guy, when this line stop concept they call andon, the flight light pops up, then supervisor would come down and fix the problem. In the meantime, people stay not doing things. And that's really important to expose the problem, have a nerve system to come up with solving the problem. So that concept I'm using, that I had other things to do this morning, but I decided to talk about this for my own sake, because it's important to know myself. And I found the application of line stop is to stop doing whatever, to eat breakfast and so forth. I can delay 10 minutes, but I write this or talk about it now so that I can remember. Say no is to stop. That's another topic I mentioned. When there's abnormal event, especially, say no, including line stop, and have the whole system understood that principle so that the next time similar event happens, we can deal the situation better. And more we have those multifaceted, what's the word, to not treat things in the silo, but combined, integrated, you have such a system to work to achieve the goal with all the multiple things to work together. That's how we are to function, as in the company, the nation, individual, living life, with the same concept. If you don't think like that and just focus on one, you don't have that level of integrity. The society is getting very tight about the information and how they process. There's lots of misinformation. We have to have this system in the society as much as also in individual's case. If you're not doing it, it's going to be a problem. And we may have a war, wrong outcome for the present election, and sadness, suffering for people. Hallucination, delusion, line stop, synthesize, say no, stop, it's important. That's the role for each, but especially at the top, and orchestrate the process. And if it's not done right, society is not going to work well. Individuals not going to live well. And that's the point that I thought worth mentioning. Hallucination, delusion. No matter what improvement, technological advancement you make, you keep having these. That's given. Without such system, understanding, we have a problem. Let's realize that and work on it. My case was just an example. Many similar examples can take place and are taking place. We have to do a better job.